Hi again, my name is Glenn and I'm the co-host of this channel with my baby Sakura. She's currently sleeping at my feet, so you might see her later depending on if she wakes up or not. Today I decided I want to read some AITA stories because I listen to a lot of them, especially like while I'm driving or while I'm working. I like to listen to those stories and I get really opinionated about quite a few of them, and honestly I feel like I disagree with the takes of some of the creators that read them. Not all of them, some of them I really appreciate their opinions. And I don't think everyone's going to agree with my opinions too, so I thought I'd give it a try myself and read some of them. So yeah, we'll just read a few stories today and see how it goes. Bear with me because I am new to reading these and I don't think I'm going to be great, but I'll try my best. I don't know what happened, but I just recorded a whole section and it stopped recording way before the section, so I'm going to go read it again. So our first story is AITA for no longer filling the car with gas before my partner has to go to work. My partner works Sunday evenings, I don't. They tend to sleep until 15 to 30 minutes before they need to be at work. They've recently been asking if I can fill up their car with gas before they go to work on Sundays because they don't have time to get ready for work, get gas and get to work on time. For a while, I was doing it because it wasn't much of a bother for me. I would take their car and go to the gas station and get snacks or drinks, or go to Dunkin' and get a coffee. I would also sometimes take the car while they were asleep and get gas and go to the grocery store because I had to get groceries anyway. They also didn't ask every week, just most. I've also told them that they should fill up before Sunday so it isn't such a rush, or wake up earlier. They said they would try, but I also didn't mind doing it if I had a reason to go out. It snowed last night through today where we live. I had no plans to go out because I don't like driving in the snow unless I truly have to. I went to the grocery store yesterday before the snow started and I stocked up on all my drinks and snacks so I wouldn't have to drive in the snow. I was also still in my pajamas because I was looking forward to a comfy day inside. They asked me if I could fill their car up with gas again today. I said no, I don't like driving in the snow, especially in a car that's not mine. They said it's not far to the gas station and they had to get ready for work. I repeated that I don't feel comfortable driving their car in the snow and I don't need to go out for anything, so I won't do it. They were upset because I refused to go out and fill up their car with gas. They left for work upset and didn't even say goodbye, and later texted me that they couldn't fully finish getting ready for work and were a few minutes late to work because they had to stop to get gas. AITA for not filling the car with gas before my partner went to work, even though I have been doing it often in the past. Okay, so I'm gonna say NTA. So the way I feel is this is not OP's problem to be dealing with. It's nice that OP was doing it out of the goodness of their own heart until now, but it's not their responsibility. It's just not. They were choosing to do this, but that does not mean that this is their job to be doing this. I'm of the assumption that they have work during the week, Monday to Friday. They have a regular standard job. So Sunday is probably one of their days off, one of their days to rest. It's not fair of the partner to be putting all these expectations on someone on their own day. What I think is the main issue here is not OP not filling it up on the Sunday. The issue is their partner's failure to plan. This is the biggest issue. OP said it themselves. They suggested that they fill up before Sunday or that they wake up earlier. That is it. Why don't they just do that? It just seems like they are getting really comfortable with this arrangement. They want to be able to sleep in, which, mind you, they're sleeping in really late if they're working in the afternoon. My partner works Sunday evenings. Evenings? Like, what time are they going to bed? Are they working evenings the day before? It seems like they're getting a lot of sleep, honestly. That's one thing. But then the other thing is they tend to sleep until 15 to 30 minutes before they need to be at work. For me personally, that's about how long I sleep in until before I go to work. Like, I wake up 20 minutes before I need to leave and then I get ready in that time. But then there are some things that I can't do because I'm waking up a bit too late, and I do those the night before just because I know I won't have time to do it in the morning. And then there are times when I need to do some extra stuff in the morning, so I'll wake up earlier to go do that. That's just a part of being an adult. And even if you're married, which it doesn't sound like these two are, I don't know. I'm just assuming because the way that the wording, the way that they use the car and everything, it almost sounds like they're not married or they're not living together or something. I'm not sure what their living or relationship situation is, but even if you're married and living together, it's not your partner's responsibility to take care of your sleep schedule and your work, getting ready for work and everything. That's your own problem to be dealing with. So yeah, this partner, I don't know if they're a guy or girl, but regardless, they need to take care of themselves. They need to be an adult and handle this themselves. On the way home from work, previously, like the time before, that's when they should be filling up. They shouldn't be filling up on the way to work. This is not the partner's problem. They need to be doing it themselves. And then the last thing I want to mention is OP saying that they're not comfortable driving their car in the snow. I 100% agree. So I live in Australia. We don't get snow in the city. So I don't really deal with it from a day to day, but I used to live in Korea and I actually got my driving license in Korea. And at the time when I was doing my driving school and my driving test, it was during the snow season. Like the roads were covered in snow. I did my test in the snow and it was scary. It was freaky. So I know how that feels. And I would be scared to damage another person's car. So I totally get how OP feels about not wanting to drive someone else's car in the snow. Okay, let's go look at some comments. Why didn't they stop and fill the car with gas on their way home from work the last time they worked? It is incredibly lazy to ask your partner to fill up your car with gas so that you can sleep until the very last minute when you had plenty of opportunities to do it yourself. That's literally what I said. Why they should have just do it on the way home. Like you stop for like what? Not even 10 minutes, probably like 5 to 7 minutes. It's all it takes. And then you're done. And then you don't have to, actually, I don't know what type of car they have. I drive a hybrid. So for me, I'm done for like a month or two. Another comment here, NTA, your partner is actively choosing to leave their car empty and to wake up with so little time that they can't fill up. They need to act like an adult and be responsible enough to be fully prepared for work, which includes having the gas to get there. Exactly. Okay, post number 2. AITA for skipping my own surprise birthday party once I found out it wasn't really for me. I don't like how this sounds so far. Alright, let's read. I have never been big on birthdays. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate them. I just prefer something low-key. Dinner with my closest friends, maybe watch a film. Something small basically. Everyone close to me knows this, especially my sister. Let's call her Maya, who loves big gestures and believes every birthday or achievement needs balloons and a theme and much, much more. 2 weeks before my birthday, Maya started acting strange. She kept asking if I'd be free that Saturday and acted weirdly when I asked why. I suspected that she was up to something, so I told her again that I didn't want to party. She just laughed and said that as per usual, I was being no fun. A couple nights ago, the night before my birthday, one of our mutual friends let it slip about it being a party. She mentioned what she was wearing. Anyway, turns out the whole family was invited and it was at our parents' house. Some co-workers were also invited, but here's the kicker, my effing ex. For a little context, me and ex broke up about 2 months ago. It ended pretty badly, no abuse or cheating, but it wasn't a pleasant ending. I've made it pretty clear to everyone in my life that I want no contact. Maya knows this, however she's told me multiple times that I should just get over the whole situation because he's a nice guy and that he's been a part of all our lives for years. The first thing that I did was call Maya demanding answers and she didn't deny it. She just said that we could finally talk it all out. She admitted that she hadn't just thrown this party for my birthday but also so everyone could see my ex again and we could fix things between us. She literally said to me that I'd thank her later. I went mad. I said to her that she had no right, that I would have been ambushed into the situation, and this was all after I had specifically said that I didn't want a party. She just said that I was dramatic and bloody ungrateful, that she had this whole thing planned because I wouldn't find better and it was a good gift. She said everyone had gifts and traveled, that everyone was excited. So yesterday, my birthday, I completely powered off my phone, didn't let anyone know other than my best friend, so we went out for lunch and went on a walk together. Ended up having a great day. When I finally got home, I turned my phone on and it was mental. Maya was fuming. People were disappointed. People even said I embarrassed Maya. Maya is now basically saying that I ruined the whole party and I made it all about me. It was literally my birthday. She says that she did it out of a good place in her heart and that I should at least apologize for not showing up and letting people know. So am I the a-hole? Honestly, this one is pretty rough. I kind of relate with OP not vibing with their own birthday. I've also had like a very complicated relationship with my own birthday because of like a whole lot of experiences that I've had in my life. I'm trying to work on that too. But back to the post. So much is wrong here. Obviously, Maya, the sister, is not considering OP's feelings at all and is not doing anything. Is not doing anything that OP actually wants. So yeah, like as the title says, it's not really for OP. First of all, it's for Maya. She wants to have this party. She is the one who wants the ex to get back together with OP. I don't know why other people are butting into that. Yeah, but I can't think of a single person who would actually want this. This is just rough, honestly. Like, how can Maya think that this is a good idea? How can she think that's a good idea? This is insane on her part, to be honest. And I am so happy that OP did what they did. That, you know, turning off their phone and just actually having a nice low-key chill day. That was the right decision. And like, no, people saying that like OP embarrassed Maya. Like, no, Maya made the decision to do all that she did. Maya embarrassed Maya. OP did not embarrass Maya. You can't pin that on OP when OP had nothing to do with it. OP was not involved with any of it. So how can you blame OP? Top comment, NTA. Don't be surprised when Maya and your ex end up dating. Didn't even think of that, but yeah, it seems like Maya is like, that's the whole reason why Maya wanted the ex there. But then why is she saying that she wants to like the ex and OP to like make up in front of everyone? It's like, even if that were to happen, that's a private thing. Ooh, one of the responses underneath. Yep, she needs to send a group message stating she explicitly said she didn't want a party and that under no circumstances did she want to see the ex. When she learned of the party, she gave her sister a chance to at least uninvite the ex. When that was refused, she decided to control the one piece she could, her own attendance. If the family would prefer to keep company with the ex instead of her, that's fine, but they should let her know so she knows which numbers to erase from her phone. Exactly. Oh, Sakura came up to say hi. Well, not really, she's showing her butt to you. At least you guys get to say hi to her in this video. Let's look at one more. NTA, but Maya is right. You did make it about you. Before, it was all about her. Her throwing this big party. Her mending your relationship with your ex. You robbed her of the opportunity to pat herself on the back. She did it out of a good place in her heart for her. Like that was pretty much my read of this, is that everything that happened was just all for her. It's so frustrating, to be honest. Let's do one last story while Sakura has a little cat bath next to us. So this is a roommate story. We call them housemates in Australia because we're not sharing rooms. I've been living with housemates for pretty much my entire adult life. Oh, actually, pretty much my entire adult life in Australia. Like, when I was in Korea, I lived alone, but living in Australia, I've always had housemates. I have housemates right now. One of them, I can hear him screaming on the other side of the wall. So I'm gonna relate to this. I hope. Actually, I don't know. I'll see, because I don't know what's actually going on. So, AITA for standing up to my roommate. I've been there. So let's see what happened. Hi everyone. My roommate and I share a dorm room that has 2 beds, and she spends most of her time laying in the bed watching reels, etc., and listening to music. I mostly stay in the library and study, and come to the dorm when I'm exhausted. My roommate doesn't use AirPods or any kind of headphones, and I've told the roommate multiple times to do so. She laughs and talks loudly over the phone, and I've told her multiple times that I don't mind it and I stay out of her way, but she needs to be more understanding. I mostly come back to my dorm room exhausted and prefer peace. Sometimes the roommate is caring, but most of the time she ignores my repeated request of keeping it down. However, last night I confronted her. We had a huge argument. I told her that I stay out of her way and she has the room to herself for most of the day. She refused to listen and said that she is the most flexible roommate I'm even going to get. After the argument, she walked out of the room and I locked the dorm room from inside and messaged her to come back when she learns how to respect others and their preferences. She instantly came back and knocked on the door multiple times and I refused to unlock the door. The door has a lock latch inside as well. I later unlocked the door and we had a huge argument again. Okay. I can tell that they're young in this one. I remember having like little small things like this happen when I was when I first moved out, because I moved out of home at 18, like right after high school. I moved out and I moved near my uni, so in the very middle of the city. And I remember having like arguments like this with my housemates. They feel really serious in the moment, but then when you look back on them, it's like they're not that deep. And I think like what I'm seeing in this story is a lot of build up, a lot of like it's more so on the OP side, a lot of bottling up and then kind of exploding all at once. I would probably say though, everybody sucks here. The roommate is definitely not being considerate. The noise thing, I totally get. That is definitely one of the biggest issues about living with people, is that your housemates, they don't realize the impact that their sound has on others. And sometimes you can't really blame them. Like, you know, there are people who aren't bothered by these things. So like for me, I'm very easygoing. I'm not that bothered by noise and lights and stuff. Like I do prefer if my housemates keep it down, they turn off the lights. Like I prefer that. And sometimes when it gets too much, I will bring it up. I can sleep if I can hear them talking in the next room. I can sleep if they have friends over, like in the living room and I'm in bed. That's very rare because I sleep really late, but if that were the case, I can go to bed and I don't have any issues with that. I sleep with the windows open and I live in the middle of like a busy area, so I can hear trains and cars and people. There's a car right now and I'm fine. So for me, I'm not bothered, but so the way I feel is like it's possible that the roommate in this story is someone like me that's not bothered by this stuff that much, but they probably don't think that it bothers other people because their only perspective is their own. Whereas like for me, I kind of like think about other people, and I know a lot of people are bothered by these things, so I tend to be more considerate of others. I understand where the roommate could be coming from, but that doesn't mean that they're right. They need to be more considerate, but also they're probably 18 or something. They're probably like a little kid. I'm so old now that I call 18-year-olds kids. It's so sad. Anyway, OP. I was kind of on OP's side until that line where she said, after the argument, she walked out of the room and I locked the dorm room from inside. Okay. Everything else, saying like she messaged her when she learns how to respect others and their preferences, that's fine. That's what you do when you're upset. But locking the door, you can't do that. And then she instantly came back and knocked on the door multiple times and I refused to unlock the door. You can't do that. You're both renting. I think the only time I would say that is appropriate is if she was, dangerous. If you felt like you were in danger from having her in the room with you, or she was at danger to the home, anything like that. That's the only time that I would say that it's okay to lock your housemate out of your house. But other than that, you can't be locking them out, especially when they pay for it. You can't be restricting someone's access to something that they pay for. I say that, but I'm sure there's a whole bunch of cases where that does happen, but you can't. Like that's just not okay. Like I remember I had this housemate once who wanted to take over the whole living room as their own like personal space, and so you can't do that because we pay for the whole house together, so we get access to the whole house except for each other's personal rooms. So just that alone, that's what makes me think that the OP is also being an a-hole and not considerate. Like obviously they were bottling up everything and they were thinking with too much with their emotion and they weren't like thinking logically. And I think that is, I think this was brought on with like them bottling up everything. They're probably really exhausted from studying, and all of this altogether just led to them reacting this way. I don't think it's right, but I understand where they're coming from as well. So let's look at some comments. There isn't a top comment yet because let me just refresh. Okay, so the post was just removed. Oh my gosh. So you're not gonna see it on the screen, you're just gonna hear me reading it. But yeah, so there isn't going to be any top comments, but some of the comments that are here: everybody sucks here, you're both effing exhausting, RAs exist for a reason, quit crying and use the tool you were given for this literal purpose. What's an RA? RA is a resident assistant in student housing, a peer leader who supports dorm life. Okay, so they will handle these type of things. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Another comment: you're framing the question to put yourself into better light. Roommates disagree, and you might never be on the same page in terms of noise. You can hash it out and draw lines. You aren't the a-hole for that. However, you are the a-hole for locking her out. It's not just your space. She isn't even renting from you. Grow up. Another comment, pretty much what I'm thinking as well. Everybody sucks here. She's an awful roommate. That sounds terrible, but you also locked her out of her home, living space. That's an extraordinary escalation. You bottled it up until you exploded, and that wasn't healthy or constructive. Ooh, this one's very important. You, the a-hole, you cannot lock your roommate out of the room she is also paying for and has a legal right to be in. You are very lucky she didn't go to the residency advisor and file a formal complaint. OP could have gotten themselves in trouble for this. But yeah, it's already been removed. Not sure what, but it seems like everyone's just pissed off at OP as well as the roommate. They do both suck, and it's really petty. Like, OP needs to learn some more communication skills, not bottling things up. If they're bothered by things, and I know that they said that they were approaching the roommate before, but in this case where it's a school housing, student housing, you need to escalate it, and not escalate it by exploding on the housemate, but you need to escalate it by going to some higher authority, which is the RA in this case. But there's probably other places where it can be escalated to. It is, being a school dorm, it's kind of like a managed housing, so they need to go to whoever's managing it or the RA. So these are they've got options. They don't need to be taking this in their own hands. They don't need to be bottling things up. OP needs to work on that. That's not a healthy way to do things. And yeah, just approach things in a different way. So anyway, I think that's where we're gonna leave it today. We'll just that'll be our last story. I really enjoyed doing this. I might do some more in the future. If there's any other subreddits that you'd recommend checking out, I'd love to go look. I consume a lot of Reddit videos. I enjoy having people read them to me because I'm too lazy and not responsible. So I like people reading it to me. But every once in a while, I wouldn't mind reading some out. So let me know. Yeah, that's it for today. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.